In the Rocky Mountain West, one of our vital tree species is fading from the landscape. Quaking aspen, glittering gold in the fall and shadowy green and white in the spring and summer, decorates some of our favorite places. It borders our scenic byways, our hiking paths, and our best campgrounds and picnic sites. There used to be nearly 10 million acres of aspen across the West. Now there is less than 4 million acres. Utah and Colorado still have the most aspen, but each state has half of what it used to have. Arizona has lost in excess of 90% of its aspen. What is causing the aspen to disappear? Can anything be done to stop its demise? The answers to these questions lie in understanding how aspen grow and reproduce, and how human factors can enhance or destroy a tree species that has been in existence for thousands of years. Aspen grow on a wide variety of landscapes, from the harsh, high alpine to lush stream bottoms. In some places, aspen stands are dominant and few other tree species are able to invade them. But about 80% of the threatened aspen stands are being replaced by conifers, which tower over the aspen and cut off the life-giving sun. Heavy browsing by wildlife and livestock on the young aspen stems can also prevent the survival of many aspen stands. Aspen hold immense value as part of an ecosystem. Up to 2,000 pounds per acre of grass, forbs, and shrubs grow beneath an aspen stand. This provides critical habitat for big game species like elk and deer, in addition to valuable forage for livestock. Many other wildlife species also depend on aspen for nesting, foraging, breeding, and resting sites. A healthy stand holds water within it, some of which will eventually make its way downstream as habitat for fish and agricultural uses. In Utah and Colorado, there is some commercial timber harvest of aspen. This area has been harvested and is being replaced with a dense young aspen stand. Perhaps aspen's most important asset is its simple beauty. In the summer, its fluttering leaves and white to pale green bark are a delight to behold. And in the autumn, aspen leaves provide a spectacular show of color. Is it any wonder that tourists from around the world come to the West each fall simply to gaze at aspen gold? Quaking aspen are not like most other trees. In the West, aspen renew themselves by sprouting new shoots or suckers from its extensive root systems. It seldom regenerates from seeds. Sprouting occurs when hormones in the stems, which normally suppress sucker growth, are disrupted. As a result, aspen occur in clones or groups of trees in which all stems are genetically identical. Clones range in size from less than an acre to more than 100 acres. Most of the West's aspen trees are more than 100 years old and are becoming increasingly susceptible to insects and disease. When aspen begin to die and the roots cannot send up new suckers, or the suckers don't survive, the clones die too. As aspen trees age, they usually need to be disturbed in order for their roots to sucker or send up new shoots. In years gone by, that disturbance usually was forest fire. which occurred on average every 20 to 60 years. Fire not only stimulated aspen roots to sucker, it also reduced the overstory, giving new aspen shoots plenty of sunlight to survive. But now fire is missing from most aspen landscapes. Because of aggressive firefighting policies that originated in the early 1900s, fire has not been a factor in stimulating aspen growth. Most quaking aspen in the West are living without the primary force that normally would have ensured its natural survival. In some areas, even where above-ground disturbance does occur, livestock grazing and wildlife browsing pressure is so severe that new aspen shoots get chewed away before they have a chance to grow into a new forest. In stands where conifers are already moving in, fire is also needed to keep the conifers at bay, because aspen cannot compete in the shade of a thriving coniferous forest. Historically, repeated wildfires would kill invading conifers as well as stimulate the aspen to regenerate. But while conifers must start from seeds, aspen were able to sprout prolifically from their existing root systems. This allowed aspen to grow rapidly and temporarily dominate the competing conifers until the next wildfire. Fire is the primary tool of aspen recovery, but getting fire to effectively burn among aspen is difficult. Fire requires plenty of fine fuels, dry conditions, and a good wind. But in areas where conifers are taking over, there can be too much fuel. A fire can burn too hot, sterilizing the upper layers of the soil and destroying aspen roots. Choices are available. Fires can be encouraged during the time of year when the soil holds plenty of water, which reduces damage to the aspen root system. Or conifers can be cut and removed before using fire. Such a plan is logical in areas where the conifer species are valuable and the harvest is cost-effective. When prescribed burning is not practical, selectively cutting aging aspen stands is another option. This is the technique being used on the Beartooth district of the Custer National Forest. The Beartooth Front is one of the most scenic areas in Montana, and aspen have been a vital part of the landscape. Aspen have declined here from an estimated 6,000 acres in 1929 to only half that amount today. As the aspen have declined, so has the population of ruffed grouse, whose life cycle is intricately tied to aspen. Other species like moose, black bear, elk, and migrating songbirds are also closely dependent on aspen. By cutting individual aspen clones in the spring, a fire-like disturbance is created, forcing the aspen to regenerate. Over the past 10 years, about 500 acres have been successfully treated on the district. In areas where livestock and wildlife grazing is keeping aspen from reproducing, fencing could save many clones. Aspen regeneration takes time. Therefore, wildlife and livestock access must be limited for 5 to 10 years to allow aspen suckers to grow beyond the reach of the browsing animals. Aspen research continues to target management techniques such as fire, timber harvesting, and grazing control. Information is also needed about forest soils and how they behave under various treatments. The stakes are high. For every acre of aspen lost, so is a prime source of water, a tremendously productive habitat for wildlife, a valuable source of livestock forage, and one of our most scenic treasures. Quaking aspen is one of the greatest treasures of the western landscape. If aspen's glittering gold is to survive, something must be done. Otherwise, one of our most valuable trees will continue to fade from the landscape.